before borders, before democracy as we know it. There was an army that didn't just fight wars. It redesigned the world. It marched across continents. It crushed kingdoms. It erased languages. It built roads where forests once stood. And wherever it walked, history followed. This wasn't just soldiers with swords. This was a machine, disciplined, relentless, engineered for domination. This was Rome's greatest weapon, the legion. From farmers to conquerors, Rome did not begin as an empire. It began as a small settlement along the Tiber River in central Italy. In its earliest days, Rome's army wasn't professional. It was farmers, blacksmiths, laborers, citizens called to defend their land. If Rome was threatened, men grabbed shields and spears and stood in formation. They weren't paid soldiers. They were ordinary people protecting home. But something changed. As Rome expanded, temporary defense wasn't enough. War stopped being seasonal. It became constant. And Rome realized something that would change history forever. An army that trains together, wins together. The birth of the legend. In 107 BC, a transformation began that would reshape the destiny of Rome. The architect of that change was Gaius Marius, a man who understood that Rome's future would not be secured by tradition, but by reform. Before Marius, Rome's army was not truly a professional force. Military service was tied to property. Only landowners could serve in the legions. The assumption was simple: if you owned land, you had a stake in defending the Republic. War was considered a civic duty, not a career. Soldiers supplied much of their own equipment, and after campaigns ended, they returned to their farms. Marius made a radical decision. He opened enlistment to the caput sensi, the landless poor. For the first time, men with no property could join the Roman army. The state would provide their weapons and armor. Service became long-term. Soldiers were paid. Retirement often included land grants. This single reform created something Rome had never truly possessed before: a full-time, professional standing army. No longer temporary militias, the legions became permanent institutions. Soldiers trained year-round. They marched together, fought together, and identified not just as citizens, but as legionaries. Marius also reorganized the legion itself. Previously, Roman forces were arranged in maniples, smaller, somewhat flexible blocks of troops. Marius replaced this structure with the cohort system. A standard legion now consisted of roughly 4,800 to 5,200 heavy infantry, divided into 10 cohorts. Each cohort functioned as a self-contained tactical unit, making command simpler and battlefield maneuvers more efficient. Standardization became the foundation of Roman military dominance. The gladius, a short stabbing sword, was optimized for brutal efficiency in tight formations. Unlike long slashing blades, it was designed for quick, lethal thrusts into exposed gaps. The scutum, a large, curved, rectangular shield, protected most of a soldier's body. When locked together with others, it formed a wall, an almost unbreakable barrier. In defensive formations like the testudo, shields overlapped above and in front, turning the unit into a moving fortress. The pilum, a heavy javelin, was engineered with tactical genius. Its soft iron shank bent upon impact. If it pierced an enemy shield, the weight of the bent metal dragged the shield down. If an enemy tried to throw it back, the warped shaft made it useless. One throw could disarm an opponent before close combat even began. Even the armor, mail shirts, helmets, belts, became increasingly uniform over time. Soldiers looked alike, they moved alike, they fought alike. This uniformity did more than simplify logistics, it created unity. Training was relentless, marching drills stretched for miles. Camps were constructed daily, even in hostile territory. The Roman legion functioned less like a collection of individuals and more like a single organism. Marius' reforms did more than strengthen Rome's battlefield power. They reshaped Roman society itself. Soldiers now relied on their generals for pay, rewards, and land upon retirement. Loyalty increasingly shifted from the Republic to commanders. This would later fuel civil wars and ultimately help pave the way for the rise of figures like Julius Caesar. The revolution of 107 BC was not flashy. There were no dramatic battles that day, but from that moment onward, Rome no longer fielded citizen militias. It fielded professionals, and professionals changed the world. Discipline above all. What made the legion unstoppable wasn't strength, it was discipline. Roman soldiers trained constantly, even during peace. They marched up to 30 kilometers a day, carrying packs weighing over 40 kilograms. They built camps every single night. Not tents thrown together, fortified camps with trenches and walls, every evening, no exceptions. Because Rome didn't just prepare for battle, it prepared for betrayal. And discipline was enforced brutally. Desertion could mean execution. Cowardice could lead to decimation, where 1 in every 10 men in a disgraced unit was killed by his own comrades. Rome did not tolerate weakness. Fear was redirected inward. The testudo, human armor. When facing arrows, the Roman legion didn't scatter. They transformed. Soldiers locked shields side by side and overhead, forming the testudo, the tortoise formation. From above, it looked like a moving wall of iron. Arrows struck and bounced harmlessly away. Enemy projectiles shattered against discipline. The legion didn't just fight enemies, it neutralized them. Engineers of war. Rome's soldiers weren't just warriors, they were engineers. Wherever they marched, they built bridges, siege towers, roads that still exist today. Roman roads stretched over 400,000 kilometers, connecting distant provinces to the heart of Rome. An army could move across vast distances faster than any rival. War became logistics, and logistics won wars. Conquest of the Mediterranean. The legion crushed Carthage in the Punic Wars, defeated Macedonian phalanxes, conquered Gaul under Julius Caesar, expanded into Britain, North Africa, the Middle East. By the height of the empire, Rome controlled territory from Scotland to Syria. Over 60 million people lived under Roman rule, nearly 1/4 of the known world, and at the center of it all, the legion. Not invincible. But the legion was not perfect. In 9 AD, 3 Roman legions marched into Germania under General Varus. They never returned. Ambushed in the Teutoburg forest, over 15,000 Roman soldiers were slaughtered. The loss shocked Rome. An army that conquered continents had been erased in mud and trees. Even machines can bleed. How the legend changed society. Roman soldiers weren't just fighters, they were citizens with incentives. After 25 years of service, a legionary received land or wealth. This created loyalty and spread Roman culture wherever veterans settled. Latin language spread, Roman law spread, architecture spread. The army didn't just conquer territory, it Romanized it. The cracks begin. Over time, things changed. As Rome expanded, fewer citizens wanted long service. The military began recruiting non-Romans, mercenaries, foreign auxiliaries. Loyalty shifted from Rome to individual generals, and that shift was fatal. Civil wars erupted. Legions fought legions. The weapon that built the empire began tearing it apart: the fall. By the 4th and 5th centuries, the Western Roman Empire weakened. Economic strain, political instability, external invasions. In 476 AD, the last Western Roman emperor was deposed. The empire fell. But here's the truth. Rome's military structure didn't vanish. It influenced Europe for centuries. Modern military organization, ranks, training standards, engineering units, echoes Roman design. The legion didn't just win battles, it rewrote how armies function. Why the legend still matters. The Roman legion wasn't terrifying because of swords. It was terrifying because of structure, because discipline scales, because coordination multiplies power. A single soldier is vulnerable, 5,000 moving as one, unstoppable. The legion proved something humanity never forgot. Organization beats chaos, training beats numbers, and discipline can change the world. If you made it to the end, you didn't just watch history, you witnessed the blueprint of modern power. Subscribe for more cinematic deep dives into the forces that shaped our world. Like the video if this changed how you see Rome forever. And comment below, what legendary army should we uncover next? Because history isn't quiet, it's just waiting to march again.